Hello, Lois. It's me, Douglas, if you don't recognize me. I just got back to my comforting room. I've been here for about a week and a half, helping my father. And my father tells me you came to visit. Yeah, I understand my father. He understands me. And it sounds like maybe you're here with Jacques, and definitely my mother. And speaking to my father, it sounds like, and just knowing you, um, I could see you getting it. I bet you that when you were with my father, and hopefully you got to witness some of this, that you were aware of people, uh, especially my mother, patronizing him, talking to him condescendingly, patronizingly, like he's a 12-year-old. My mother probably talking in her little kind of googly baby voice, which is not nice. It's humiliating to my father. Her little, hello, Billy. Oh, Billy, how are you? And you got to use the bathroom. She probably asked him if he had to use the bathroom. If he had to pee about a million times, and asking him in front of you guys, or you, and or Jacques if Jacques was there. All that's wrong. It's just wrong. It's bad. You know, when you have Alzheimer's, you don't. Your brain doesn't regress to a 6-year-old state. You know, the little circuits are dying. So your brain tries to do what it can to make the connections to help you speak. Linguistically, my father's way challenged. You can't take what he says literally. You have to read between the lines a lot, and I do, and it becomes really easy. Sometimes if he says 3 paragraphs, I might not understand the first paragraph till I get to the end of the third paragraph. I'm able to put stuff together. It's all the stuff that my mother never does. My mother just patronizes and condescends to my father, and yells at him. Quite honestly, probably not when you're there. She needs you, especially out of everybody, to believe that she has my father's best interests at heart. Because she knows you're her one concern, as far as me, that she needs to figure out the way to have you convinced that she's doing the right thing and I'm either mental or obsessed or whatever else she calls me, whatever else she infers. She defames me a lot by use of inference without saying things, but to put thoughts in your mind that probably don't make sense to you. And with you, you know, she has nothing, so she has to say he does too much. He doesn't know when to stop. He does too much, which is insane. And if I do too much, I do too much. It's because my brothers don't do anything and my mother doesn't do anything. She actually tortures my father. And as nice as the place is, I don't know if that's your first time there. Don't judge a book by its cover. What happens behind closed doors is horrific. My mother knows this because I got caught, but I was videotaping with motion activated cameras. And what I see when I'm not there, the little bit of time that aides are in the room helping my father. They're not helping him. They're torturing him. My father, it's the one word is horrific. It is horrific what I've watched. The verbal abuse, the physical abuse. I've seen them being dropped on the floor and they just leave them there while they're texting their friends. Everybody who talks in front of them, you were probably uncomfortable. When my mother probably would talk to you about my father with my father sitting or standing right next to you guys. Almost like you want to shush my mother, almost like I can bet you because I know you. You're a lot like me, Lois. Trying to like move the conversation somewhere else because you were feeling uncomfortable from my father. My mother's clueless with that stuff, and you probably picked up on that. My father's tortured. He's in pain. Feels he's at a point where he's broken, where I would hear him yell and scream. My father, he tries to be a nice guy, try to be accommodating, but at points they're so bad, he yells at them. He says, like, how the fuck can you treat somebody like this? And you know you're being abusive. And but then he has to be nice right away, because if he says those things, he fears they'll treat him even worse. So my father winds up apologizing to aides basically as a matter of survival. But what's really it's like what's really concerned me, like whatever, I've been concerned since he was here. Everything I suspect, everything I've anticipated has happened. What really is disturbing now, when I see my father, and when I hear him, when on the videos, is the like literal begging for mercy. Like, please, please, please don't hurt me. Please, please, please don't do that. Please, please, please. I mean, he is so broken. He's constantly being made to submit to everybody's will, especially my mother. My mother and the aides there, they keep him in a constant state of submission. He has no rights. He can't piss when he wants. He can't take a shit when he wants. He can't eat when he wants. He can't wake up when he wants. He can't go to sleep when he wants. He can't hang out where he wants. He's never allowed to use his apartment. The 12 minutes from waking him up to pulling him outside, to the 12 minutes that they put him to sleep, and it's you're gonna be nauseated. I know you, Lois. You're gonna be sick to your stomach when you see these videos. Then you're gonna be angry. Then you're gonna be sick to your stomach, and you're gonna be angry at my mother. And please don't be angry at me. I'm the messenger. I'm not doing this stuff. I'm trying to save my father from this stuff. I mean, how I stay calm, I don't know. But I do. I have to. I don't have a choice. I tell you like what I'm doing, but I can't, because I'm not sure if you tell my mother. If you were here alone, if you spent time with my father alone, like if I was with you, my father trusts you. He really does. He would open up to you, but certainly not in front of my mother, and certainly not if he believed you would tell my mother what he would tell you. He'd fear that. But if you a couple times, if you were here with me, and I really let him know it's okay, like I had a conversation with you, he'd open up to you. But he doesn't like doing that because he's ashamed. He's ashamed of, like, that's what's happening to him. He's ashamed that he's there. Like my mother, if you look at like her sensitivity, bringing visitors, like it's not like he's in a hospital, he broke his leg, so you're happy to see somebody, or even if you're a person that doesn't like visitors, you know you're getting out. But when you look at yourself, like, here's where I am, and here's where my wife put me, and I'm in a loony bin, I have Alzheimer's. He really does feel a great sense of shame, and he feels a great sense of shame at my mother and my brothers. But he'll be Bill. You know, when you were there, I bet you he was Bill, just, you know, trying to get through it and trying to make it okay. And none of us are going to talk about like where we are. But I'm sure my mother was like pointing out in front of my father, and you see this, and they got this, and they got that. That's cruel. And I think you would understand me saying what I just said, how that would be cruel. Imagine being 79 years old. Imagine having Alzheimer's. You're dealing with that, and then you're dealing with a family. My brother Todd and my mother, who one day tranquilized my father and dropped him off there. Put him on drugs, Seroquel, that he's still on, until he's broken. It's like breaking a horse kind of thing. And they tell you, well, don't visit him until he gets used to it. The whole premise, the whole everything about it is, there's logic to it, but it's bad logic. It's disgusting, quite honestly. You're not fooling any, you know, let's put their 30-year-old couch that now when you sit on it, you're like 12 inches off the ground. It's actually hard for him to get up from it, but it doesn't matter because he's not allowed to sit on it. But like, you're gonna fool him. Oh, because you have Alzheimer's, if we put his sofa here and a piece of artwork from the second bedroom, he'll just think he's home and he'll be happy. No, my father is angry at my family. He can't believe my family did what they did to him. And he has to be nice to my mother because he's at my mother's mercy. Anytime he tries to have a serious conversation with my mother pretends she doesn't hear it. She's dismissive, like she is with me. And we'll talk over my father, ignore his concerns, and talk about something as if he's a mentally retarded 6-year-old. Come on, Bill, let's go for a walk. I'll take you for a walk. To give my father purpose, my mother, you're going to see this in videos, tells my father to open a door for her. You could open the door for me, Bill. You can open the door for me. When he was home, my mother would say, you could get the paper for me, Bill. Get the paper. If you looked in the kitchen drawer in there, the toy she brought from my father is a yellow tennis ball to play fetch. So let's take somebody whose coordination is greatly affected in the hallway and try to have a game of catch with a tennis ball. How does anybody not think that would just be frustrating for him? He'd be embarrassed because he wouldn't be able to do it, feel like he's supposed to be doing it. He'd be humiliated. And that's how he lives his life, constantly humiliated from the time he goes to sleep till the time he wakes up. From the time he wakes up till the time he goes to sleep. And also throughout the night, because they do bed checks and door slams and they hang out in his room. And I think they smoke crack in his room. Yeah, I got evidence of all this. And the door slams every hour or two and it wakes up my father. He's not supervised when the door slams, it wakes him up. They put him to bed so early he has to get up in the middle of the night to piss. He's terrified doing it because that's where he needs help and that's where he doesn't get help. He lived in a nice place. He had 3 meals a day. He needs personalized attention, a one-on-one, a buddy, a friend, a companion, a family member, and an aide to keep an eye on him and help him in those little ways, not some... imagine somebody, some different Haitian person saying, soaping up your vagina. Every other day. Just throwing you on the bed and pulling your pants off. Or my mother, Bill, you're wet because he pissed in his pants. It's not a pleasant life. And then my mother calling aides and then saying, Bill's modest. He doesn't like peeing in front of people. While her and 2 or 3 other aides are standing saying, pee, come on, pee, 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 pee. And then when he doesn't pee in the time you want him to pee, you hear my mother say, oh, see, he's belligerent. Another one of those buzzwords, Alzheimer's. Bill's belligerent because he's modest, he doesn't want to pee in front of anybody. Like when he's screaming, like, get the fuck away from me. See also, like, he's angry. Imagine you're sitting on a toilet trying to pee. People are forcing you to pee, and you got 3 people looking over you telling you to pee. So, yeah, you'd be angry, and he's angry. My mother turns that into belligerent. He's being belligerent because every bit of his dignity is stolen from him every single day. And my mother's a big part of it. And when I try to tell my mother these things, Mom, Dad wants me, Dad and I have recorded conversations. He wants you to see them. He wants you to know how he experiences this, what he goes through every day. My mother's just silent. She walks, the few times I run into her there, she just walks right by me. She doesn't care. My mother's concern right now is that she doesn't have to spend any money on him, that his death is hastened, that he breaks a hip, something, so she knows he'll never get out of wherever he is. And ultimately, when he dies, to collect on life insurance. And I'm not saying this like casually, but I'm not saying it with drama. It's just part of my life and part of my father's life right now. So if I sound a little matter of fact about it, I've just been dealing with this for so long. It is what it is. I can't sugarcoat stuff to make my mother look good. I've done that for the last 7 years of my life. And my father and myself get the consequences of